What is up, people, and welcome back to Minimum Discount Brokkoli, which brings you another video of rating Pokemon with Kappa. Well, this time we're gonna go for the older ones, I guess, since we've already done with Legends Arceus and we don't have any other Pokemon to be rating from there. So I thought about starting from Generation 1 and going up to Generation 4 for this video because I don't want it to be too long and maybe it's a form of cheesing some content. Anyway, we're going to be rating every generation separately because I feel like the art form evolves quite a lot every time a new generation is out. And of course, I won't be rating the whole roster because that's a lot of Pokemon. So I'm going to be giving only my bests and my worsts of every generation. So keeping that in mind, let's waste no more time and get right into rating our Pokemon. Coming to Generation 1, which is Kanto, we have the best as Lapras. Yes, Lapras gets a 10 on 10 from me. It's such a clean design. For Gen 1, it's so well thought out. It represents the Loch Ness monster. And of course, looks simple yet elegant. Has that mystery dungeon nostalgia. Also, you get it for free after defeating your rival at Silphco, I guess. So Lapras is a 10 on 10 for me. And my second most favorite design from Kanto is Gengar, which is a straight up 8 on 10. It's simple, it looks mischievous, while also looking somewhat like a ghost, but somewhat entirely different from what I'd imagine a ghost to be. So it plays the role it's supposed to while looking nice and unique. Moving on to my least favorite from this generation, the first one is going to be Seel. Okay, first up, coming back to names again, what is that name? Why would you name it Seel, which is literally the name of the animal? Second, it looks just like a seal again, except maybe it's white, and that's about it. It has teeth, I guess, but nothing more, and that's why Seel gets a 3 on 10 from me. Then we move on to my other least favorites, Dugtrio. Okay, why has Dugtrio gotten 3 faces? I give it 3 on 10, 1 for each face. How did the angry face come up when the normal Diglett had just a single one? Yes, Dodrio and Magneton could have been on this list too, except Magneton makes more sense by story because magnetism, and Dodrio at least looks like their heads out of the same body. But in Dugtrio's case, well, we don't even know if they share the same body, and if they do, that kind of looks disgusting. So Dugtrio gets a 3 on 10. My least favorite, however, is Execute. So first of all, anyone who has a plant-based diet, would you want to have some eggs in them? No, this is not a grass diet. Oh wait, those aren't eggs, those are seeds, you say? Well, I could excuse them for not being chicken eggs and maybe flamingo eggs, but in no way do they look like seeds. Yes, it took me an entire decade to figure out that these things are not eggs but seeds. So Execute gets a 2 on 10 from me. Now that we're done with Gen 1, that is Kanto, let's move on to Gen 2, that is Johto. Gen 2 had a lot of cool looking pre-evolved and non-evolved forms. My favorite one being Dunsparce. Yes, Dunsparce looks really cool. It's highly unusable in the game because of how useless it is, except the yawn, I guess. But it looks so cool. It looks like you can give it unlimited amounts of lore. I love the coloring. I love the wings on it, the baby wings. They kind of make it look somewhat mysterious. So I give Dunsparce an 8 out of 10. Then we move on to my other favorite, that is Larvitar. I love Larvitar because it's not easy to come up with the baby of a monster and make it look cute and intimidating and kind of cool at the same time. Larvitar manages to pull all that off. It's a straight up 8 on 10 from me. It looks nice and agile while also looking pretty powerful. So that's for Larvitar. And finally is Sneazel. Yep, Sneazel, just like in Pokemon Legends Arceus, Sneazel is my favorite in the original version too. It pulls off asymmetry pretty well, and asymmetry is one of my favorite concepts in any art because it's not conforming with your usual styles, and Sneazel also has that cool smug personality of it, which is why I like it. It also looks agile, it looks like an assassin, it looks like everything it has to be, ice, dark, all of it, and that's why Sneazel gets a 9 on 10 from me. Coming to my least favorites, it's gonna be Apom, another pre-evolved form, but ends up in the least favorites this time. Apom is just a monkey with a hand for a tail. Okay, maybe that's somewhat creative, but it looks disgusting. I cannot stand that smile of it and nor that haircut. looks like something I would get as a 3-year-old kid because I had no choice because my mother would decide what haircut I'd be getting. So that's why I don't like Apom. It's a 3 on 10. It's not the worst, but it's close to it. Moving on to Gen 3, that is Hoenn. And okay, I did not expect Hoenn to have so many good looking designs, but when I went through that roster, it was very difficult for me to pick some favorites. My favorites, they'd start with Flygon. Flygon gets an 8 on 10 from me. It's a dragonfly made into a dragon, and well, the only unfortunate parts being it's not bug type, where you'd expect it to be, especially with those cool looking eyes, and also maybe should have gotten a Mega Evolution in Gen 6, which it didn't. But other than that, it looks fantastic, it looks agile, it looks powerful. And then we have Mudkip as a 9 on 10. Yes, although I generally love starter designs, Mudkip does especially well here. Mudkip looks very cute. It's an axolotl. What else do you want from your Pokemon? Other than them being an axolotl. And even the colors are well chosen. I love the orange that complements its blue. And the other 9 on 10 in this region is Metagross. Yep, Metagross. Who would have imagined a supercomputer gone berserk by having supercomputers fuse with each other to form this Pokemon? An inanimate object that has become a Pokemon, so you can't help but love it. And of course, it stands on 4 legs in such a cool way. I love how they've done the joints for Metagross. There's always more to talk about its design, but there's still one more favorite hanging in there, that's Mauville. Or Mawile, however you pronounce that. Yup, Mawile is one of my favorites in this gen. Again, it pulls the asymmetry off so well. It gives this sense of cuteness and adorableness while also looking quite intimidating. Who would have imagined the head becoming another mouth? And I think it pulls its inspirations from a yokai. It does that pretty well. I even love the Mega Evolution of Mawile, but Mawile itself is so cool looking. Anyway, moving on to my least favorites from this gen. This was again hard to find. I did not know Hoenn had done every design good enough for me to not find them bad. But since I had to choose, I had 2 4 on 10s in this gen, one being a Shelgon. Yup, Shelgon gets a 4 on 10. It does not show any middle stage of a Bagon to a Salamence. There is no continuity, and of course, it's a round thing with 4 legs with a face hidden in it. I feel they went a little lazy, they slacked off on this design, but it's not that bad from the design aesthetic perspective, so I guess it gets a 4 on 10. The other one is Gorbis. We would have expected this to be an evolution to Luvdisc, if not the Alumololomololomololomala that comes out in Gen 5. So that, and it kind of looks ugly. Sorry for the guys who love it out there, but yup, I'm not a fan of a randomly off-pink looking Pokemon, just like was Enamorus, and this one falls in the same category. I do not like its creepy looking eyes either, and well, it just does not suit my tastes. So Gorbis gets a 4 on 10 from me. Finally, moving on to Gen 4. Gen 4, Sinnoh had some great designs and some bad ones. Introduced a lot of new evolutions, baby evolutions, and one of my favorites here is Spiritomb. Yup, Spiritomb, of course, it has its own lore, being the embodiment of a cursed 108 spirits or something like that. But who would have thought that a flower pot would look so ominous and look so cool as a Pokemon? I especially love how they've done the eyes as patches of grass. So Spiritomb gets a solid 8 on 10 from my side. Moving on, my 9 on 10s for this region include Combi. Yup, not Vespiquen, but Combi. Integrating the honeycomb in the honeybee itself would look so cool. I can't believe they did this well. So if Dugtrio was a bad representation of 3 heads in one Pokemon, Combi is the best representation of it. They made 3 heads look like 3 sections of a honeycomb, and it cannot get neater as a design. It's unfortunate that the male ones don't evolve, but that's also related to some trivia related to bees, that male bees can never become the queen. So quite interesting. And my other favorite from this region is Drapion. Drapion pulls off the dark personality very well. It's dark poison type. Sometimes we may confuse it with bug, but that's only because of the pre-evolution. I love how its ears become its claws, and its colors are very well touched. And it does look intelligent and creepy at the same time, which is quite difficult to do. So Drapion does a design well, and therefore it's one of my favorites. Moving on to my least favorites, don't throw stones at me, it's Chimchar. Yup, Chimchar. So Chimchar gets a straight 3 on 10 from me. Many of you may like Infernape, and I don't disagree. Infernape has some cool references from Son Goku, Monkey King, and whatnot. But Chimchar is terrible and does not look nice to me. First of all, its throat is so thin. Feels like you can pull it off at its neck and it would be as easy as snapping a bamboo shoot. I don't know how that easy that is, but still. Anyway, Chimchar also has an enormously big face, which makes sense for it to be the baby evolution, but it looks too unsettling to me, and therefore Chimchar gets a 3 on 10 from me. My other least favorite and probably the most disgusting Pokemon in existence is Ambipom. Well, if you don't like Apom, what's there to like in Ambipom? I mean, Ambipom is the disgustingness of Apom amplified. Its haircut is like that of the 3-year-old kid whose mom didn't allow them to choose their haircut, but botched by the barber 2 times over. Yup. And well, they just gave it 2 tails with hands on them instead. Apom didn't even need an evolution like that. It could have become so much cooler. Maybe its legs would have become its arms or something like that. And there was a lot they could have done to that potentially terrible design, but they just made it even more terrible. So Ambipom gets a straight up 1 on 10 from me. Yup, this is the lowest I've rated a Pokemon, but I feel like it deserves it. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope we had the same views on this, and I'm guessing we didn't. But anyway, see you guys soon again. Stay tuned to Minimum Discount Brokkoli, and thank you for watching.